At 11, the calendar says winter, the thermometer says midsummer. Southern California baking in this record-breaking heat. No signs of a cool down in sight. And beating the heat today, not easy, but you did have a shot if you the water. Lake Elsinore was busy with boaters and fishermen trying to stay cool and have some fun. It was a picture-perfect day in Santa Monica. We saw people out on the beach, but it was far from crowded there. Good evening, everyone. I'm Carolyn Johnson. These summer-like temperatures are staying with us. They could actually be even higher by this time next week. We have live team coverage for you. Macy Jenkins joins us soon with how people are dealing with the heat. But let's begin with meteorologist David Bigger tracking the temperatures. David?
And Carolyn, here's a look at the temperatures we had earlier this afternoon, where many spots across the region, including some areas close to the coastline, were in the 90s. We got to 92 degrees around Long Beach, 91 in downtown LA, 92 in Van Nuys, 93 degrees in Riverside today, 90 in Hemet, and 91 degrees in San Bernardino. Several cities tied or broke records today, including Santa Ana, which got to 97 degrees, breaking the record from 2007 of 92. Oxnard at the National Weather Service office got to 94 degrees. That breaks the record from 2015 of 86. Camarillo, 93, breaking the record of 89 from the same year. And Long Beach tied its record from 2007 of 92 degrees. We're still under a heat advisory that will remain in effect through 8 o'clock tomorrow night. This is still because we're looking at temperatures 15 to 30 degrees above average for this time of year. And we are tomorrow looking at a moderate risk of heat-related illnesses across the region. That means anybody who's sensitive to the heat, especially when exposed to the heat without proper cooling or hydration, would be at risk of developing heat-related illnesses. And that includes areas like the Basin, Inland Orange County, the Valleys, and the IE. We do have a little bit of a cool down for the weekend, not much, and then another warming trend to talk about. I've got details in a few minutes. Back to you.
All right, we'll see you then. And our team coverage continues right now with Macy Jenkins in downtown Culver City with more on how people work to beat the heat today. Macy.
Hi, Carolyn. Well, people are out and about in downtown Culver City tonight on a beautiful evening after a scorching day in many parts of Southern California. And the temperatures are expected to shoot back up into the 90s tomorrow as the heat advisory continues. It was a toasty Thursday throughout Southern California, with temperatures topping out in the 90s in Anaheim, Long Beach, Santa Ana, and LA.
It's feeling pretty hot.
I am not happy about the weather.
Outdoor regulars say they could feel the heat wave as it rolled in.
Definitely the weather today was a little bit tricky.
Yesterday I had a beanie on yesterday, and today when I got up, I stepped outside. No chance for a beanie.
Some were unfazed.
Every day coming out for 5 Mayo, sometimes 3 Mayo.
And the heat doesn't bother you?
Yeah, exactly.
With much of SoCal under a heat advisory through Friday night, the National Weather Service warns to watch out for signs of heat-related illness. Heat stroke is considered a medical emergency. Signs include a high body temperature, fast pulse, dizziness, headache, confusion, and passing out. Heat exhaustion, unlike heat stroke, commonly causes heavy sweating, muscle cramps, tiredness, weakness.
Everyone has their way of handling it. Me, I'm a bit of a polar bear, so I really need to find ways to stay cool all the time, whether it's ice packs, bringing like a little cooler with you just to have some extra ice on hand, things like that.
I pretty much stay in the house with the air conditioning on or go to the beach.
And plenty of locals have the same idea over in Santa Monica.
Brought extra large water bottles for us. We have 2 different kinds of sunblock.
If you got AC, that's probably nice. Turn that on. Otherwise, some fans, less clothes.
Whatever your method, the experts also recommend wearing loose-fitting, lightweight clothes, taking breaks away from the sun, and checking up on relatives and neighbors.
Stay hydrated, enjoy life, and be grateful that we live here.
That heat advisory remains in effect until 8 p.m. tomorrow. If you are set on being outside, the best time to do it is in the early morning hours or after the sun goes down. Reporting live in downtown Culver City, Macy Jenkins, NBC4 News.
Thank you, Macy. And a reminder to download our free NBCLA app. You can scan that QR code there in red right on your screen. You'll get customized weather alerts and the latest on heat advisories sent. The investigation into the 2 attacks that happened today on U.S. soil. The FBI is working to determine whether the cases are connected. One targeted military officers in training at a university in Virginia. The other happened 700 synagogue in Michigan. Alert. Kovacic in West Hollywood stepped up roles security they said local synagogues. Rob?
Carol, terrible thing vowing authorities on the Jewish community. Law in Southern California is trying to what you happen right. Magdalene sheriff's deputies named synagogue
of the ordinary and everything.
What happening in Hollywood was happening in Bloomfield, Michigan.
There was no preparation.
Ever since the Iran began, braced for trouble. The Israeli general to the Pacific Southwest warned last week.
Need to be careful, but continue life. What terror wants to do, it's to life, your daily life.
Today, what the FBI is labeling possible terrorism, slamming into the doors of Temple Israel in Michigan.
This how fast. I mean, he was traveling with purpose and down the hall.
The DHS says 41-year-old man Mohammed Ghazali, born in Lebanon and armed with drove a vehicle into the temple with preschool in session. The suspect then managed to drive in a hall, but security guards working for the synagogue opened fire with semi-automatic weapons. The suspect died. Smoke seen billowing from the building is believed to be from a fire connected to the suspect's vehicle, which may have had explosives inside.
You couldn't even see the hall was completely clear. We had to send people in with gas to clear that.
The sheriff says one of the security guards was taken to the hospital after being hit by the vehicle, but is expected to be okay. No temple staff or children from the day or preschool were injured. They were all evacuated and hours later reunited with families. Temple Israel is one of the largest Jewish congregations in the United States, with more than 3,000 families.
This is not okay, so that's all I want, everyone to be okay.
From arson at a Mississippi synagogue to a car repeatedly ramming into a center in New York, and in December, the shooting on Bondi Beach in Australia at a Hanukkah celebration that killed 15 people. The Jewish community on heightened alert, even if there is no war.
We don't stop just because of one conflict or another. We'll continue to provide safety.
Proactively protecting people. The Los Angeles Police Department and the LA County Sheriff's Department say there are no credible threats to report at this hour. Anyone enter a house of worship, the common threat seems to be, please remain vigilant. Live in West Hollywood, I'm Robert Kavasik. Let's go back to you.
Certainly always good advice, Robert. Now to the deadly shooting at the Dominion University campus in Virginia. That is being investigated, an act of terrorism. A 36-year-old started shooting at an ROTC classroom. An instructor died in the gunfire. 2 others were injured. The Army says both people were Army personnel. The instructor, who died, and identified as Army Lieutenant Brandon Shaw. He was a professor of military science and an instructor. We've learned it was students in to take down the gunman. The father of one student talked about what his son experienced.
But what he said was that he came to the classroom and asked, "Was this RT?" and began to shoot. At the time, he and his fellow classmates went into active protective and to try their best to subdue the suspect.
That gunman died. The FBI says he had ties to ISIS and tried to carry out a terrorist attack in the United States in 2016. He was released from prison in 2024. Now to the Middle East, where the search continues tonight. Those who were on board U.S. aircraft went down in Iraq. Meanwhile, the Iranian regime is escalating its attacks on oil.
Tonight, U.S. saying KC-35 refueling aircraft in friendly airspace in western Iraq was not due to hostile fire or friendly fire, and that rescue efforts are ongoing. All as Iran is unleashing attacks on oil tankers, this fuel-laden ship bursting into a fireball. Part of Iran's strategy is to drive up oil prices by stopping tankers from sailing through the Strait of Hormuz. Today, President Trump spoke at a White House event honoring Women's History Month.
The situation will move very rapidly. It's doing very well. Our military is unsurpassed. There's never been anything like it. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And we're doing what has to be done. Should have been done during a 47-year period and done by a lot of different people. They chose not to do it, but they really are a nation of terror and hate, and they're paying a big price right now.
On Iranian state media today, a presenter reading what she